also coming in within the same news piece. In fact, we are learning that CNN-news18's investigation has now forced the action. Ankush Katiyar, the founder of this particular app in question, TalkCharge, has now been sent to judicial custody, as been told by our reporter Yash Goyal as well. We have managed to speak to Ankush Katiyar's counsel also, who rejected all of these allegations that have been levelled against him. He has said that the business has only collapsed because of the RBI. He said that the victims are mentioning huge amount, but it's all false. Let's listen in to what the advocate actually has to say in this particular issue.
So first of all, how would you respond to the charges which has been levied by multiple victims and multiple FIRs against your client?
This is clearly a civil case. They are given the flavor of a criminal case and making the police as an instrument for the recovery of their money. They are using police as a recovery agent. This case, the business is collapsed only because of the intervention of RBI, and we are already filed case against RBI asking for a 116 crore damages happened to the company. Yesterday, the FIR you are mentioning, different places FIRs are there. We are properly responded in this case also, and we are requested them to open the account. Every time we are cooperating with the police and nothing is happened. We issued arbitration proceedings and legal notice against these customers. More than 50 lakh rupees people are paid, and this mediation process is pending in the Delhi High Court, and all the so-called victims, they are a part of this process. They are only forcing this person to arrest. The actual thing, what is going to happen, if this person is arrested, all the process, the settlement mediation process will be going to stop. The company have to get around 136 crore rupees misused by the commercial users and who are completely violated the terms of the condition. We are already filing case against them. 25,000 users, we are already issued notice. A lot of people are paid back the money, and it's in the way of paying back.
Yash continues to stay on with us on the broadcast. Yash, we just heard how conveniently advocate Mr. Prakash has thrown all of the eggs into RBI's basket. He is calling it a civil case and not exactly a scam. What exactly can be perceived by the statement that he actually gave out to you?
Well, Sakshi, the counsel of Ankush Katiyar, they lamented upon one fact that this is not a scam or a Ponzi scheme which was operated by the TalkCharge, but actually it was a business collapse which happened due to RBI. Now, to put things in context, we remember when that entire fiasco surrounding Paytm unfolded last year only, and we saw how regulatory actions were taken against many companies at that very point. Now, what TalkCharge says that without looking into the matter and without going through the company's details properly and looking at the situation in entirety, the RBI had actually issued that very notice. Because of that, stop usage notice, basically. They cautioned the customers not to use the application, and in fact, they had frozen their bank accounts at that very juncture. And that is why they said it's a lending business, and where the lending business, the money flow is very important. And because of that very action by the RBI, the business operations stopped completely, and that is why they have failed to honor the commitments which they made to the customers of TalkCharge. But here one thing is very interesting to see, that the victims of this very case are calling it a 5,000 crore rupees scam, and in fact the TalkCharge company is brushing off all these claims by just saying that we have to pay 100 crores. But looking practically into this case, the TalkCharge was there on the Play Store. Now it has been taken down. It had over 3 million downloads, and if we go in the most specific manner, in fact, if we say 33% of the users were also using the application, that is a 10 lakh number we are talking about here. And if we say 10 lakh users of a particular app, and in fact, if we found people who have been duped to the tune of over 1 crore, so we can imagine the kind of money which is involved in this very case. It's very obvious that the counsel for Ankush Katiyar and TalkCharge will be brushing off these claims. But one thing is clear, this matter needs investigation from the topmost authorities at the top priority, because the victims in this very case, they say they have been suffering from the last 3-4 months. because the withdrawals have stopped completely. So that is why the claims which have been made by the council here doesn't seems to be going with the claims of victims. So this is a matter of investigation, and how courts will actually look at these very arguments made both by the victim side and by the counsel of Ankush Katiyar and TalkCharge Financial Private Limited.
Definitely, Yash. In fact, while we were reading out this entire case and investigation, you mentioned that this is nothing less than a Ponzi scheme properly. If you have spoken to so many victims, how come this is extremely shocking to accept that? How come nobody has put their lens on this particular case? Is the application still working? Is it still there in the market, Yash?
Well, Sakshi, basically this app has been taken down from the Play Store, but the users can still operate the app who were the existing users. Or you go on the internet and you type TalkCharge, you'll be able to download a APK file of that very application, and you can still use it. But the thing is, the operations of the company have stopped completely. Now, talking about the very first question you asked, how the victims fell prey to this very thing. Well, this was not a new company which was established by the promoters. This was a company which was operating back from 2014. And in fact, how they managed to got such a market share was by offering a huge cashback, or a cashback which was usually more than the market standards. For example, there were many companies at that time like Paytm, like Google Pay, which used to offer you cashbacks like 1%, 2% of your total transaction. But TalkCharge at that time gave a bigger number of cashback to their customers. So over the period of 5-6 years, they gained the trust of their customers. And in fact, after that only they launched those big money schemes. And interestingly, the way they operated was, if let's take an example, if a XYZ person had put 5,000 rupees in a particular scheme and they were offered 1,666 rupees in cashback in 6 months, that means a 33% return was actually promised in 6 months, and the money was safe in the wallet. So they were promised money and they were given small money. But when they actually invested huge amounts, like one scheme which was actually launched by TalkCharge was investing 59,999 rupees and getting
Yash, my
7,50,000.
apologies for interrupting you over there. We'll come back to you for more questions, but let's listen in from the expert himself. We have Amit Dubey, who is a cyber expert, joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Dubey, thank you so much for joining us and speaking to CNN News 18 as well. If you have read about the case, and if you know about what exactly are we breaking to our viewers at the top of this hour, what exactly could be the solution? Because a lot of us can actually fall prey to such applications which look very promising to us. We are just one click away from downloading all of these things and then fall prey to it, of course.
See, first of all these applications, they start with some simple offerings, low-cost offerings, and that's why people don't doubt some cashback offers, some gift coupon offers, and coupon codes, etc. But eventually, once they build the credibility in 3-4 years, then they start asking people to invest huge amounts, and then the real game starts. And that's why history will always help people to believe on their credibility. So that's a very, very surprising thing, that because we always suggest people that if any such app has started 3 months back, 4 months back, don't trust it, don't invest, don't get trapped. But this is an app which has been started, which has been there since last almost 8-9 years. And if they had this plan eventually to dupe people, I'm really surprised. This kind of strategic organized crime cannot be accepted in online world. First of all, this would have been understood at various levels. There are various check and balances. I think we have missed those checks and balances. From RBI side perspective also, that how can they ask people to invest such an amount, which is not allowed for such kind of apps. And then further, when these companies starts coming, we should have taken it down from the app store immediately. So I think there are multiple things which requires monitoring from government side also to nab these kind of other apps as well. There are many apps. People are losing huge money. There are apps those are asking people to invest in cryptocurrencies. There are apps that are asking people to invest in shares and have heavy returns. So all these different other apps also are in the same trend. People have already lost crores and crores of rupees. And then there is no solution to it, because once money is out of India, then you can't even expect it back to your account. There's no possibility. So this is a huge loss, and I understand that this is something which requires controls at various levels. When the money was even transferred to these accounts, bank-to-bank transfer should also alert the user that this seems suspicious or something. So there are lots of AI involved also nowadays in banks. How are they allowing people to even invest these kind of heavy monies to these apps' bank accounts? And these apps also keep changing their bank account. They don't keep one bank account. They ask people to invest in different accounts or transfer money so that they can bypass those
Right, Mr.
guidelines.
Dubey.
So,
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Dubey, for joining CNN News 18 and sharing that expert's opinion with all of our viewers. It certainly is going to make us aware about a lot of things. We'll keep coming back to you as and when we get an opportunity. But as of now, Yash continues to stay on with us on the broadcast. Yash, since you have spoken to many people while you were actually bringing about this investigation, what's that first red flag? As a layman, if I could ask you, just for the sake of awareness, what's that first red flag or indication that, you should not be doing this, you should not be downloading this particular application or invest your money in it?
Well, Sakshi, the very first red flag would be if someone is offering you a staggering return, which is not possible in a practical world. See, if you look at the stock markets as well, or any other instruments like FDs offer you 6 to 7% annual returns. If you look at the returns of Nifty, which it has generated in the last 20 years, it also goes somewhere around 12 to 15%. So if someone is offering you a staggering return of 10x, 5x, or even 1x, even 2x in a matter of 6 months or 1 year, that is the red flag right there. Because there is no instrument in this world which can generate such a staggering return. If you look at the stock markets, or if you look at any instruments, yes, we can say Bitcoin for the longest time had generated a stupendous returns, but that is also something which happens once in a century. And in fact, that is not the case here. That the case here is that people were offered huge cashback, and they were offered cashback in a very small window with a very less amount. So that is the red flag right there. Because like I mentioned, there is no instrument in this world which can give you such a return in such a short period of time.
Right, Yash, and if we were to go step by step, till what level things are pretty much under the control of cyber security police, till what time they can still protect your money in your bank accounts?
See, it's a very hard thing for any agencies to enforce this very law when it comes to the movement of money from one account to another, because what happens is in many cases these companies operate from different countries. In this very case, this was a legit company which was operating from India, and in particular from Gurugram. Once the complaints were made, the accounts of the accused were frozen, but there is a proper arbitration process which goes within in these such cases. And in fact, upon completion of those very arbitration proceedings, then only the money could be actually given back to the victims. But yes, it is definitely a cumbersome process. But before going to the agencies level or before going to the police's level, it is upon the victim or the user to actually identify such applications and such schemes. Because when it sounds too good to be true, that is the very first red flag there. Because if something is that good and that lucrative when it comes to the financial angle, you have to make sure that you check it double, triple, or at least 4 or 5 times before investing your hard-earned money into it. Because I've spoken to people, there are many people who have just invested 10,000 rupees into this app, but we can say 10,000, but for them it's a very huge amount, because they were actually looking at doubling their money in the next 6 months. So they actually had invested a lot of their savings, almost everything they had, into this very application. And in fact, one of the victims whom we spoke to was Ram Avtar Sharma, who hails from Dosa. He said that he had actually given up all his life saving. He had mortgaged his home. He had maxed out all his credit cards. He had taken a personal loan from the bank account to invest in such app. So you can imagine the kind of menace he is trapped into right now, because the companies will be, the banks and the lenders will be asking their money back, but he has no other option right now to get money from TalkCharge. He has to wait for the legal proceedings. He actually needs to follow the entire arbitration process. Then only he'll he's going to get back his money. So before investing, the very first thing a person should do is check for that scheme, the legitimacy of that scheme, and if something too good is offered, then definitely it's a red flag.
Definitely. It's quite shocking, appalling. At the same time, it's quite unfortunate that so many people have fallen prey to this. Yash, thank you so much for doing that investigation and bringing all of that reportage to all of our viewers. Something certainly to take notes from. Time for a quick commercial break here on CNN News 18. Do stay with us. We'll come right back with more news and updates right on the other side.